Oh! Hello there, old sport! Nice to be acquainted with you. The name's Gatsby. J. Gatsby. Now, I'm going to tell you something sad that happened to me. But, only because you are my greatest confidant. But wait, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh, Gatsby, always trying to entertain. I'm sure most of you have been to one of his parties, but for those of you from the Valley of Ashes, here's a short recap of what's been going on.
I was born James Gatz of North Dakota. My parents were unsuccessful farm people. I left home at the ripe age of 17 to find something better in this world, and I did. I found Dan Cody, a millionaire. He taught me about being wealthy and living a lavish life. He also taught me about the horrors of alcohol, because he was always drunk and I was morally obliged to look after him, because he had done so much for me. Sadly, 5 years later, he passed away and left me with $25,000, which I could not receive due to his thieving mistress. However, it did not matter, because I dedicated the rest of my life to follow in the footsteps of Dan Cody.
May he rest in peace.
And become a wealthy and successful man.
Not much later, Gatsby met a young girl named Daisy Buchanan. It was love at first sight for Jay, and he felt an unexplainable pull towards her. He knew that his farming background would not be enough for a girl of this status, so he conveniently left it out whilst talking to her. The fact that Daisy was wealthy and had men begging for her hand in marriage made her even more attractive to Gatsby. Daisy represented everything Jay Gatsby wanted in life. She was a living, breathing American dream for him, and he would spend the rest of his life trying to have her for himself. In the iconic novel, The Great Gatsby, Fitzgerald portrays Jay Gatsby as a man overcome with his desire to achieve the American dream through characterization. Jay Gatsby. The name itself is a form of characterization. When we hear the name Jay, we think of the American Blue Jay. The American Blue Jay is known for being faithful, intelligent, determined, and fearless when protecting a partner. We can see many of the same characteristics between Jay Gatsby and the American Blue Jay. For example, Jay Gatsby is determined to win Daisy back and fearless in the process.
Gatsby was overwhelmingly aware of the youth and mystery that wealth imprisons and preserves, of the freshness of many clothes, and of Daisy, gleaming like silver, safe and proud above the hot struggles of the poor. Through the use of direct characterization, we see that wealth has the power to isolate people from the real world, the passage of time, and from the struggles of those that are not as privileged. That is exactly why Gatsby holds wealth and status with such a high esteem, and why he devotes himself to achieving that status. For Gatsby, wealth and success is the American dream. Furthermore, Daisy represents his highest goals of wealth, and so for him, when he wins Daisy's heart, he will have achieved the American dream and will now have the wealth and status that he has worked his whole life for.
What was the use of doing great things if I could have a better time telling her what I was going to do?
Here, it is evident that everything Gatsby has done during his life has all been to catch the attention of Daisy. His lavish parties, his gigantic mansion, and all the ways he showcases his extreme wealth. Everything was for Daisy. Nothing in his life had worth until Daisy thought it was worthy. Although his desire for wealth and status began due to his own motivations and to escape the life he was born into, it eventually developed into a lifelong quest to bring in Daisy. As we discussed earlier, Daisy became Gatsby's American dream, as she represented the wealth and status that he had always wanted. They're such beautiful shirts. It makes me sad because I've never seen such beautiful shirts.
She never loved you, do you hear? She only married you because I was poor and she was tired of waiting for me. It was a terrible mistake, but she never loved anyone except for me.
Oh, you want too much. I love you now, isn't that enough? I can't help what's past. I did love him once, but I've loved you too.
Gatsby's desire to have Daisy love him made him desperate and frantic. He had spent so many years working towards this goal that if it were to dissipate, his life would become worthless. This thought drives him to despair, so when Tom suggests that Daisy doesn't love Gatsby, Jay becomes furious. When later talking to Nick, he desperately tries to explain Daisy's remark.
She might have loved him just for a minute when they were first married, and loved me more even then, do you see?
Suddenly, he came out with a curious remark. In any case, He said,
"It was just personal."
what could you make of that, except to expect some sort of intensity in his conception of the affair that couldn't be measured? Gatsby believes the affair was more than just lust. Because he spent his whole life dreaming to be with Daisy once again, he romanticizes the affair in his mind. While Daisy was not going to leave Tom, Gatsby felt that the affair meant Daisy would leave him, and the two of them would get married and live happily ever after. However, due to expectations from society and gender roles, this would never happen. As this realization finally began to creep into Gatsby's mind, it made him even more desperate for self-reassurance.
"I can't describe to you how surprised I was to find out I loved her, old sport."
The whole reason that Gatsby lusted after Daisy and wanted her so badly was entirely due to his obsession with achieving the American dream. The American dream that Daisy represented for him. However, Gatsby constantly tells Nick that he has always been enchanted with Daisy, but Gatsby himself was surprised to realize that he truly loved her, because at first their relationship was solely based on desire.
The iconic novel The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald couldn't have been great without Gatsby. One of the premises of the book is wealth and status, and Gatsby himself is the main portrayal of this.
As we discussed today, Gatsby is truly overcome by his desire. All of his actions and thoughts are influenced by this desire.
But when reading a novel, you are not only reading about the characters, you are learning about yourself. Great authors teach us lessons through the characters.
Juhi, what's your American dream?
To be as great of a teacher as Mrs. Law Liberty.
Sounds great. Just don't let it take over your life. Remember to stay true to yourself.
Thanks, Leah. And F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Thanks
you for watching.
I love her, can't leave her. Forever, I always need her. She lied, but I believe her. Love sick, I got that fever. Love stupid, I know it.